While for the last 24 hours, this Chelsea HOH is numbing my brain, which I never thought would be the case. Chelsea, who's been one of the only people in the house to be logical the whole time for the most part. I mean, she does, get her emotions in the game sometimes, like everybody else. But up until this point, I do feel as though she has been the most logical person. And, well, I somewhat understand her stance this week as HOH, where she's trying to play it safe because she thinks it's going to be clean for her game, and maybe she won't create a bigger target for herself, even though, like I said yesterday, just by winning HOH, she has already created a bigger target for herself. And so now it just feels like she's scared to play, even though we're now at the jury phase, and I feel like it's just bad timing to want to do this week. But truly, everything I've heard out of Chelsea's mouth over the past 24 hours has been dumb. Because if she's saying, and she said it multiple times now, that Quinn and Leah are the two people she feels are coming after her, or would come after her, and they both have discussed in private that they would come after Chelsea, so Chelsea has a good read on that situation. But if those two are the ones coming after her, and she knows that, and she's repeating that, then why are Angela and Chemo on the block? And today, MJ wins the veto, which could make the veto not played, which means Angela and Chemo will stay on the block, and one of them will go home. Now, there is the possibility that MJ uses the veto. In fact, MJ and Chelsea had a little discussion today that maybe she would use the veto on Chemo, and they could put Quinn up, and then that would guarantee that Angela goes home, even though that wouldn't quite guarantee that Angela goes home, but that was MJ talking, so that's not surprising. So there is a possibility of the veto being used, and then maybe Chelsea can pivot her week because she really does need a pivot. But instead, we're getting all these conversations from Chelsea, Cam, and MJ, who are tripling down as a trio, which is fine and dandy, but talking about how maybe they have the votes to get out Chemo this week over Angela. And if that would be the case, then Chelsea's HOH would be the majorest of fails, probably losing her the game. I already feel like that if this week does not end in Quinn or Leah going home, then Chelsea went from the front runner to win this game to fumbling mightily and probably not even being the third person I would pick to win the game. So she's going to need to hopefully pivot in some direction. Even if Angela ends up being the one going home this week, maybe that doesn't hurt Chelsea's game that bad. It wouldn't be as disastrous as Chemo going home this week. But if Angela were to go home, it still feels like a waste of an HOH, where sure, Chelsea got Angela out, maybe lost Angela's jury vote in the process, and then Leah and Quinn still in the game with the barrel pointed at Chelsea sooner rather than later. But this discussion about Chemo being the target now, which sure, there's a long time until Thursday's eviction. There's even over a day until the veto is used or not used. I just don't get this discussion from Chelsea at all. I don't know if she is just placating MJ, but that does not seem to be the case, because Cam was making some good points about how he's worried about Leah, MJ, and Quinn talking a lot over the past couple of days, and they were talking about, Cam wasn't in this discussion, but Cam saw them talking, and last night they were up late talking about the possibility of getting Chemo out of the house. So that's worrying Cam that those three could work together more and more. So Cam has a better read right now than Chelsea, in my opinion. I do think the plan can easily change, that if Angela and Chemo stay on the block, that Cam votes with Rubina and T-Core to vote out Angela over Chemo. Chelsea would then have to make the tiebreaker, though, which would then also guarantee that Chelsea probably loses Angela's vote in the end on jury. But that's the mess that Chelsea has caused for herself this week by trying to play it so safe. And now with this discussion of Chemo, it's like Does she not realize that she has the trio working for her right now? I get the talk between Cam, MJ, and Chelsea that the trio are gonna always vote together. Chemo, Tikor, Rubina, yes, they have a voting block going, so it makes sense as to why they should maybe want to get one of them out. But it should not be Chelsea being the one as HOH doing that, because they all back Chelsea very much right now. This is why I thought yesterday it was a mistake putting up Chemo in the first place, because it doesn't make sense for Chelsea's game specifically. Like, that might not hurt Cam that much if Chemo goes home. It certainly doesn't hurt MJ if Chemo goes home, but it does hurt Chelsea, who is HOH. It's a theme of the season, people going home on people's HOHs that shouldn't be going home on their HOHs. But I can't believe that Chelsea, who has been very good and logical and having a good read on the house, would put herself in this situation. I also think that if Chemo goes home this week, not only is Chelsea leaving Leah and Quinn in the game when she knows they're possibly coming after her, but getting Chemo out is basically just getting Leah's target out. So, yeah, Leah may have faltered last week when she almost had a good move by using the veto on Angela, and Chemo almost going home last week, but Joseph was the one that went home, so it kind of voided Leah's move in the first place, and it kind of set her back socially. But if Chelsea continues in this direction this week, where Chemo somehow ends up going home on her HOH, she's just helping Leah out. Leah will regroup from last week's loss, and I think Chelsea will be in a much worse spot than she should be in after being HOH if she was not trying to play this safe and dumb. MJ also has the obsession with getting Tikor out of this game, which makes sense for MJ's game. I see people talking about that that if MJ were to win HOH and that Tikor were to be the one to go home on MJ's HOH, then that would work for Chelsea's game, because Chelsea needs to get Tikor out of this game without Chelsea being the aggressor in doing that. And that's true. Chelsea can't be the one to take the shot at Tikor, but it's also all about timing. So especially if Chemo goes this week, or even Angela goes this week, getting out Tikor sooner also hurts Chelsea's game. So I'm just very confused by Chelsea's HOH as someone who we all, or most of us, see as the front runner to win the game, because she has had the best grasp on like the strategic elements of the game. But now she's put herself in the situation that if she can't make a pivot, if she can't get MJ to use the veto and put up Leah or Quinn and try and get one of those two out, and if Chemo especially goes home this week on Chelsea's HOH, a big blunder. But it is still early. We'll see how Sunday plays out. We'll see if the veto is used or not used Monday. And then, of course, we have to see where the vote lies the rest of the week.